to what I want to do than I would have thought. I get to communicate with people. I talk to people all the time. I get to learn about their lives, learn about their stories, and I've definitely made some friends just from, I don't live in Brooklyn, but just in the community, people in Brooklyn who now know my name because they really like how friendly I am, or I give them a smile when they come in. It's also baseball themed, so I got to hold on to that little piece of my life from before. But yeah, and I'm now learning so many other skills that can actually be applicable later in life, maybe not directly into the career path that I'm heading towards, but in other parts when I'm not working. So come and check out Farm 42 if you love baseball, if you love great food. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 to 2, and breakfast and lunch.
No, so for
That I
this,
can
that's
fit
what
in
the song
around
was.
other things I
Yeah.
do.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call the Village Board of Oregon to order for Monday, March 17th, 2025. I ask clerk to call a roll, please.
Beshin,
Here.
Higgins,
Here.
Mankey,
Here.
Kirchdorfer,
Here.
McDaniel, here, Peterson,
Here.
and Van Kampen.
Here. Thank you. Item 3, approval of March 3rd, 2025 Village Board meeting minutes if correct and correction of mistakes if any. Staff recommendation motion to approve as presented. Amanda and Jason. Corrections, comments?
One correction.
Okay.
Item 7 was motion carried 6-0 with 1 abstention. I abstained on that. We didn't vote. I may not have been clear about that.
Okay. On item 7?
Item 7.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 4, public appearances, comments, and communications. Item for discussion and possible action. A, public comment. This part of the agenda allows members of the public to provide information to the village board, including items both on and off the agenda. 15 minutes will be provided for this item with a 3-minute maximum per speaker. Do we have anyone here for public comments? Seeing none, thank you. Item 5, approval of vouchers in the amount of $350,900.42. Staff recommendation motion to approve as presented. Tim and Carleen.
Higgins and Bession, right?
Yes. Comments, questions on the vouchers? Tim?
I had one question. Page 12, number 6,400, $12,168 grant reimbursement. What was that?
Guessing that's the school resource officer reimbursement.
Okay.
Thank you. Grant reimbursement for salary. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's correct. Yeah, that's for
what I
Oregon
thought,
Cares.
too.
Yep. Good call, Jenny.
I should have spoke up. I thought of that right away. Okay, other questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion second, so roll call vote.
Van Kampen,
Yes.
Mankey,
Yes.
Kirchdorfer,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Bession,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
and Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6, consent agenda. Staff recommendation motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented. Is items 6A through E. Tim and Tom. Higgins and Kirstover. Questions, comments on these items? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 7, reports of committees, item for discussion and or possible action. A, Sustainability Committee. 1, Organics Collection and Composting Subsidy Agreement with Greenbox LLC for April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026. Committee on Staff recommendation, motion to approve as presented. Jason and Lynn. And there was a detailed memo. This is a renewal. Was there additional comments?
No, the Greenbox program has gone really well. We've gotten great feedback from it. We had designated $12,000 last year for this program and have not utilized that full $12,000. So this is just an extension of the contract in hopes to continue with current participants or gather new participants to utilize that the funds that were designated last year and encourage some commercial new commercial usage. They have a different, obviously they have a different program, and so this would allow for the village to help support some of those new signups as well.
Tim?
I would just comment from a personal standpoint, I believe I've reduced my garbage output almost in half. And the service from Greenbox has been tremendous. So if you're hesitating and thinking about it, I think it's well worth it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Mankey, a second by McDaniel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Items 7A2, pardon me, resolution number 25-04, agreement to join the intergovernmental agreement to fund Position responsible for stormwater information, education, and outreach coordination for the Madison area Municipal Storm Partnership. Committee and staff recommendation. Motion to approve as presented. Tom and Lynn. And again, we had a good detailed memo. Anything to add?
I would,
Tom?
I guess just my understanding on this is that if we did not join this, we would have to get our own MS4 permit because they haven't caught up to us on the numbers yet, but it's just paperwork.
Kind of. So when we do eventually get that MS4 designation, we'll have our own permit, but this position that's funded under this MAM swap agreement checks boxes on the information and education outreach portion of that permit. And so it helps to meet some of the standards that are required by the permit, and then it simplifies meeting kind of some additional educational and outreach standards. This position, it's held by a woman named Crystal Campbell, who's fantastic, and she basically sets up all of these different educational opportunities that MAM swap members can kind of take as their own, they can participate in, but it just simplifies that aspect of it. So, so that's kind of where it fits into the program.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we have motion by Kirstover, second by McDaniel. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7B1, application for extraterritorial, excuse me, application for extraterritorial certified survey map submitted by Timothy and Diane Hack for the division of one lot located at 1060 Glenway in the town of Oregon. This falls on our ETJ section, but and generally we don't oppose. So we're just looking for a motion to approve. Amanda? And Tim. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion by Peterson, second by Tim Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7B2, conditional use permit and agreement for 490 North Burr Oak Avenue to allow indoor commercial entertainment in the general industrial zoning district. Commission and staff recommendation, motion to approve as presented. Jason and Tim. Elise, did you have something to add?
This has been something that has been just lingering out here a couple months. In January, the soccer club came in front of the planning commission. They are leasing some space, some warehouse space that's in the back of the new Gorman, I think it's their architecture and construction admin building on Burr Oak. This used to be Tractees admin building, so they're not using that warehouse space. Soccer has been working with them to lease that and install indoor kind of turf to just do practices. This would not be for games or tournaments or anything like that. And we've just had this lingering out here a couple weeks to have both building inspection and the fire department ensure that all of the egress and signage and everything like that, just because it's a different type of use than a warehouse, more of an assembly space, everything is safe in there. So we've had all of those folks check the changes in the space and go out and verify that. So ready to recommend approval now.
Yep. Questions? Okay, hearing none. We have a motion by Menke, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, unfinished business. Items for discussion and possible action. A, resolution number 25-10 authorizing the issuance and sale of $2,858,000 water and sewer system revenue bond anticipation note series 2025A. Staff recommendation, motion to approve as presented. Let's see, we got Tom and Tim. Questions, discussion? Tom?
Just a clarification. One thing I I noticed on I'm not as familiar with some of these bonds as other things, but this is a draw account so that the disbursements occur after. So we would present bills, draw funds. So there actually is no immediate borrowing
Right.
tomorrow.
Correct.
So it's as needed.
Yep.
So, and then when we get the loan completed, then it would convert to the there was a replacement loan.
Yeah, it'll either be a safe drinking water fund loan through the DNR if we get that, or if not, we'll roll it into next year's borrowing with our other items.
Tim?
So then, are there no payments made against this? It's just one?
Correct, yeah,
Yeah.
we draw it down, and then once we're done, then we make a payoff, and then we convert it into whatever vehicle we're gonna use after that.
Okay.
Lynn, please.
I just need to call this out because this is kind of at the end of this agenda. And for those who are watching or those who are here, we are flying through this agenda because we have learned a lot about these things in prior meetings. So I just want to make it clear that as we're approving some large decisions and payments and costs and something like this, we've had Ellers come to advise us on it, educate us about it. And so these are some of those sort of yes, tying up loose ends, formalizing things. We are well aware of what we're doing here.
Well, I'm not sure I'd go that far, but yes, no, that was a good comment. I certainly appreciated it.
It just didn't agree with that.
I know.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Kirstover, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 9, new business none. Item 10, reports of village officers, department heads, and consultants. This is for information only, no action by the village board will be taken. A, the village administrator report. Nothing there. Item B, police chief report, calls for service reports for December 2024 and January 2025, notification of changes to nasal naloxone policy and domestic abuse policy, and media release dated February 28th, 2025. Chief.
I don't have any,
Well,
sorry. I don't have anything else to add.
okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the chief? Lynn, please.
Okay, call it the social scientist in me, but as I'm reading through the notable incidents of December and January, I'm noticing a bit of a trend of OWI situations in a very specific part of town. I'm wondering if this is highlighting a concern for you as well, Chief, or if this is just coincidence or normal behavior, if there's something that maybe the public safety committee should be looking into to help establishments in this area. I guess to call this out, I'm talking about that Wolf Street, Janesville area. I think there's like 3 or 4 called out here. Not necessarily OWI, but significant situations that are occurring in that area. Anything we should know or be aware of here?
So as part of the arrest process, one of the forms that we complete is finding out where their last place of drink was. What I can say, I'd have to sift through all of the data, but no establishment in the Village of Oregon's really been highlighted.
Okay.
These areas are, but very commonly passed through at certain hours of the day. Going beyond that, one of the things you may notice when I talk about a lot of the OWIs in both reports is whether or not a blood draw was done. Because a typical OWI arrest will consume up 2 officers for safety. Not only do we have to keep ourselves safe, but we got to keep that driver safe who's potentially intoxicated, and then you have occupants in the vehicle potentially. An OWI arrest is typically about 2 to 3 hours, depending on different variables. But then when you add in a blood draw, that's transporting. We try to transport them to Stoughton Hospital. They're just a lot faster. We can try to get it done in that 3rd hour, but maybe it might be that 4th hour. So depending on the level of cooperation with the driver, it may pull both officers. At times, Stoughton PD will help us if they're available, but at other times, we're kind of on our own. So that's why I added that in there. And I'm just going to pull up for the December numbers and calls for service. Just things I'd highlight is in the December report, you'll see that we went away over to Belleville to assist them. They're kind of in the same situation, and they're obviously lower staffed than we are. There are times when nobody's in Belleville, and the county is asking us to come over and assist, or Verona. So as you can see, this is why, is there was somebody there wanting to fight with law enforcement, so we went over to help. We also helped out with the Abundant Life Christian School shooting. We did that in different ways. We were on scene at the time of the incident, or well, shortly after the incident, and then also hours to follow, just helping take calls for service in the city. Another thing, and these are two different people from the December report to the January report. We have one individual listed in here where he left us 10 voicemails making threats that he was going to wage war on the Oregon Police Department. We weren't his only target, but I did not list those other entities that he made threats. He made them at them, but the threats were made at us. He just decided to call random entities in the Village of Oregon. Luckily, we have really good partnerships with all of those places, so they made us aware right away. We were eventually able to address that situation. Normally, December's a pretty quiet month for us, just, because obviously our staff's trying to get some time off too, so we're riding at our lows at that month. January, again, you'll see a lot of these. We had 5 OWIs in January compared to the year prior to in January, which was 0. 5 doesn't seem like a lot, but with all of the blood draws, the paperwork, it is quite a bit. In January 2025, we had a different individual make threats towards specific employees of our police department, also sending them inappropriate content via email. We were able to identify the person. We were very familiar with him. Found him at a vacant residence up in Fitchburg. Fitchburg worked with us, and we were able to take him into custody without incident. And there's some other OWIs to mention, some crashes we had that were unique. But in January 2025, that was a busy month for us. It certainly stretched into February, but just in looking at simply disturbances, domestics, and OWIs, you'll notice the numbers are quite a bit bigger. And that's why you're going to see the impact on traffic. They're just less available for traffic. So, happy to answer any questions on the policies or the reports.
Anyone? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Item C, 10C, Finance Director Report. Annual building permits, impact fees, and connection fees collected ending February 2025. Nothing there? Okay. Item D, Oregon Area Senior Center Annual Report for 2024. Rachel.
Okay, so we have our infographic report looking back at last year, which we'll get to is shortly. There it is. So the front of the report, this is actually a 4-page foldy-uppy thing, but you're seeing it as separate pages. The front of the report really talks about some of the statistics that you might find interesting. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, to take a look at those. Some of the numbers that we're really proud of is this 100% up in the upper right corner. We were able to provide rides to 100% of the people who met the criteria, which means things like they gave us enough notice. You can't call and say, I need a ride in 10 minutes, but 100% of the people who met the criteria were able to get rides to where they needed to get rides. So that was a really good outcome for people. And then in the kitty corner in the bottom, there's another percentage that says 92. Yep. That is the percentage of our case management clients that were still living in their own homes at the end of the year. So our goal is to keep people in the community for as long as we possibly can. You know, figure out the resources that they need so that they can be successful in the community. And we're working with some often pretty frail, vulnerable people. So to be able to maintain 92% of them in their homes through the year is an accomplishment that our case managers should really be proud of. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about any of the other numbers. There's lots of numbers there. But otherwise, we'll go on down to the next page where I think the stuff in the gold box, the 2024 transportation is really interesting. Transportation is pretty time consuming to arrange. And this year, the number of riders using transportation went up 39.5%. And the number of rides that they needed went up 47%. So that's pretty significant. And every one of those rides requires case managers to be sending emails or making phone calls and reaching out to see who can provide those rides. So again, it's, to me, I'm pleased with the case managers that they were able to meet the need 100% of the time, because that's not an easy thing to do. The other box on this page that I think is interesting is the one that says top 5 areas of assistance provided by case managers. The things that they seem to spend their time on most regularly was government assistance programs. If you're going to benefit from a public program, there's often a lot of forms to fill out and a lot of supporting documentation that has to be tracked down and provided. And so it's a matter of making people aware that there are programs that might be helpful to them, seeing if they qualify, helping them enroll, and then, of course, you have to keep reproving your eligibility more often than seems, well, whatever. So they spend a lot of time on public benefits. Transportation, we talked about. Housing is another issue that they do spend a lot of time on. Mental health issues and issues related to Alzheimer's and dementia. So those are the big 5 when I asked the case managers what takes up most of your time. Those were the big 5. And then if we go to the next page, probably the 2024 highlights there are, we were reaccredited last year. Only about a third of the state senior centers are accredited. We were originally the 6th one in the state to ever be accredited, and we've been accredited constantly ever since. And the next thing, I think we had a memo on this, that Dane County calculated the impact of the Medicare open enrollment assistance from the case managers to have a monetary impact of $270,804. That's a lot of money that stays in people's pockets. At the very beginning of the year is when the municipal funding agreement that is in place for 5 years was signed, so that was quite an accomplishment, and I appreciate all of our funding sources being willing to join together to make sure that that happened. We completely updated our policy manual, and then I like this one because it goes with the picture right below it. This one is, our volunteers gave us more than the equivalent of 4 full-time staff. So there we have 4 volunteers. So it's like having 4 full-time staff who are there and helping us. So that was maybe the first year that I'm aware of that we crossed into the 4 employees. It's always been like 3.8 or something, so more volunteers. We had 21 new volunteers this past year. In the little orange box below that, you can see case management, the numbers continue to increase. 26% increase in the need for case management between 2022 and 2023. And then another 13% increase between 2023 and 2024. So people continue to age, that bulge in the population continues to need services. The last page is just kind of a reminder that social isolation is considered to be an epidemic among older adults. It's more impactful to their health than smoking a couple of packs of cigarettes a day. And so we try at the senior center to offer a lot of opportunities for people to come together and engage in various ways. And so we've got pictures there just showing you some of the different opportunities that we had over the course of the year. We learned during COVID, when we couldn't do those social things, that people declined much more rapidly than they do when they can come in and stay active and connected. So the next page is not nearly as pretty. It's a lot of numbers, and it is the statistics broken down by municipalities. So you have numbers there that tell you how many Village of Oregon residents had home delivered meals and how many meals they had. Same for the other townships that we deliver meals to and the Village of Brooklyn. So that's where you can get some of the raw data if you're interested in knowing just what we're doing, how many times, et cetera. So I'd be happy to answer questions if anybody has some.
Tom?
Just to, first off, the accomplishments of the senior center are impressive and really heartfelt by an awful lot of people. It's very important. The seniors in our community really, really value all the things that you and your staff do. You mentioned that the number of volunteer hours have exceeded 4 full-time equivalents. How many people were involved in that?
Last year we had 180 active volunteers.
So just managing 180 people coming and going throughout the building is sort of a testament to your success. Thank you.
Thank you. It's challenging. We have to recruit, we have to vet, we have to train, we have to schedule, we have to supervise, but it's wonderful to have those volunteers. We could not do what we do without them.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Rachel. Item 11, announcements and miscellaneous business. A, oh, sorry, I'm scared. Backing up, 10E, village clerk report. April, go ahead.
There is an election, whether Phil likes to believe it or not. So, tomorrow starts early in-person voting. So that starts here at Village Hall, 7:30. Hours are on the website. But you can also call Village Hall if you have any questions about it. And I put an informational memo in there that should pretty much answer any question that you have about the election in there. I will say that we have out almost nearly 1,100 ballots already. So they're in people's hands. They're returning them already. And I'm just going to piggyback off of Rachel. And the election cycle also uses a lot of volunteers as well. So I couldn't do it without all of the solid election workers that I have. So, and staff, and the clerk staff. So there we go.
Okay. Thank you. Item 11, announcements and miscellaneous business. A, announcements, comments, communications, upcoming meetings and events, and miscellaneous business. Village board members may provide brief statements, but no discussion. Tom?
Just a reminder to staff and village trustees, I have received 3 evaluations. You have a week, well, you have less than a week now because it's noon on Monday to complete your evaluation. That includes you, Martin, too. Yours has to be in by then. I have begun tabulating and when you complete the form, you don't have to do the number thing at the bottom. My spreadsheet just does all the calculations. Just get your score in, and I'll do the calculations for you. The other thing I noted in the instructions, and we didn't make clear to some other people, if you leave it blank, that's equivalent to giving it a 3.
Okay.
Put in an NA if it's not applicable, or if you want to give it a 3, just write in a 3. It'd be a little easier.
Okay. Thank you. Everybody Nobody else? Lynn?
Tomorrow is the last session on the safety series. It's open for all residents and community members. We're going to have Chief Pegenkoff and Dr. Bergstrom there. I invite everyone to come and ask questions, meet one-on-one afterwards if you've got specific questions. I think it's a really unique opportunity for our residents to come and get some time with two people who spend a lot of time making sure we're safe day to day. And then there's an info session for the referendum this week. And there's a listening and learning session, not this Saturday, but next Saturday at the library. It's the last one. I know there's been lots of questions out there about things going on in the village, and we will have village board members hanging out in the library lobby if you want to ask those questions directly.
Nobody else?
Sorry, safety series is at the library, community room, 6:30.
Okay.
Just a couple things, if that's all
Martin,
right.
please.
Lynn stole one of mine, but I'll just reiterate the referendum information session Wednesday, March 19th, 6:30 p.m. at the Senior Center. And then next week is the last one. That's Thursday, March 27th, 6:30 p.m. And that one is a virtual one. And then the last thing I was just going to mention is I know with the April village board meetings, timing on when this board ends and then the next board begins. So the next village board meeting is April 7th. That's still this village board, the current village board. And then Tuesday, April 15th is that village board reorganizational meeting where it's the new village board after the April election. We'll meet to reorganize, and then we'll be back on our regular schedule with the new board on April 21st, that Monday.
Okay. From department heads or staff? No, nothing?
Can I
Okay,
say, can I
please.
just say one thing? So I just wanted to take this opportunity because I'm not running for reelection and Paige is here in the audience, but to just express my gratitude to staff and for all that you do. It's been an honor to be on this board. When Amanda asked me to be a write-in candidate, I was like, I don't know. I know a lot about government. I don't know that I want to do that. And it really has. I didn't know as much as I thought I did. I stood corrected, and it just really has been a great honor and really fun to be part of it. A lot of work, no doubt, it's a lot of work, but and what a great board. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Carleen.
Thank you, Colleen. Okay. 11B, future agenda items. Anyone?
Yes, I think the DEI committee will have our initial, like, what is the DEI committee for review at the next meeting. So if you could just put that on the agenda,
Okay.
that would be great.
Anything else? Okay, item 12. Without objection, we are adjourned.